Hey there, welcome to part 6 of the IS306 labs, and today I'm going to be giving you an introduction to HTML. Now, most likely you would actually know a little bit of HTML, having gone through a couple of years in SMU and SIS, but what I'm going to be sharing today is really the foundation and how certain things work. Sometimes it's good to be able to understand why certain languages or certain things work the way they are, so that it helps you do things a bit better. So, what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. The keyword for all of this is the word markup language. So compared to most other programming languages that you are familiar with, a markup language is really designed to, mark things up. So you can kind of see it as if it's a map. So that's how it's different from normal languages. Normal languages, you create logic, you write algorithms, you say the ifs, the whats, and all that kind of stuff. With HTML, you're really kind of like drawing out a map. You're saying that, okay, this is where I want the kitchen to be, this is where I want the living room to be, and that sort of thing. So there is no logic involved there. You're just saying that this is where this A is, this is where B is, all right? And this is an example of a very basic HTML tag. So this particular tag happens to create a hyperlink. So when you click on the words link to Google, it will send you to the google.com URL. So HTML tags are based on angular brackets. So you can see that there's for the A tag here, there's an angular bracket here, and then after that there's a close. So all HTML tags have an open and a close, and whatever that's in between the open and the close, that's where the tags will be applied onto. So in other words, because the words link to Google are between this starting part, which is the opening, and this one, which is the close, link to Google becomes a hyperlink. Now, tags can also have attributes as well. So in this case, the A tag, which by the way stands for anchor, has has an attribute called hypertext reference, href. So you use a space, and then after you write that the attribute equals to, and then you use the open and close semicolons, and you put whatever link that's inside there, and or whatever attribute or property to that particular attribute, and then it will be applied to that. All right. So this is a really basic what the syntax looks like. So I'm just going to go through show you an example of an HTML tag. And this will actually give you an overview of what are the different elements that are found in a basic HTML file. So here I have Microsoft Expression Web, and this is the tool that we are recommending you guys to use to write all of your code for your projects for this particular term. And it's you can find this on the blue.smu.edu.sg. You could just go to the MSDN-AA website and look for Microsoft Expression Studio, and you download it. And Expression Web 4 is basically it's a special program designed for you to edit websites. So in this case, HTML. Okay, so you can create a new HTML file, and you will see this. The first line on an HTML file usually defines the document type. There are many different types of HTML. There's HTML4, 3, 2, 1, and of course the latest one today, we call it HTML5. And basically this doc type tells the web browser which version is it using. Okay, every HTML file will also start with this HTML tag, and everything, your entire code, will be enclosed between the open HTML tag and the close HTML tag. And there are two very important elements within these tags. One is the head and one is the body. Okay, so the body is basically where all the code is. Everything that you see that on the website is coming from the body. That's why it's called the body. All right. There's also a special section called the head, and the interesting thing about the head is you actually put code inside there that set certain properties to the entire web page that is not really seen in the body itself. So for example, over here we have a tag called title, all right? And this particular tag defines the title that you'll see on the web browser. So for example, if I save this file and I click this button right here, this is the preview button. And when you click this, Expression Web will open up a web browser to show you the page itself, so which is very useful. So I do that, and you will see that I've defined the title as IS306 HTML sample. And there it is, it says right here. So this is how you define this particular title using the title tag. All right. So we go on and take a look at what's inside the body. You have a few tags here, which I will explain. This is the H1 tag. So the brilliant thing about HTML is that don't really worry too much about memorizing. the main thing that I want you guys to catch as you're watching this video is to understand how HTML works and the concepts behind it. And then after that, all these tags, you can just find a reference online and they'll show you all the possible things that you can do. But the most important thing is you need to know how does HTML work, what are the mechanisms and stuff like that. Okay, and the first thing that I want to show you is that all HTML tags are based on English. Okay, so the H1 tag, for example, stands for heading 1. All right, so there are special tags defined for that. So heading 1 is the largest heading. All right, you can have a heading level 2, heading level 3, and so on and so forth. And all those are H2, H3, H4, and so on and so forth. Okay, so H1 is for level 1 heading. You use this to define big headings. So if you take a look at the Internet Explorer right here, we have this that says this is HTML, and it's a really big tags and stuff like that. All right. Next, you have the P tag. This is also another one that's very commonly used. This is the paragraph tag. So P stands for paragraph. Okay, and well, it's exactly what it says. It's basically used to contain a paragraph of text. And you can see that in the Internet Explorer, I have a very neat paragraph. Of course, there isn't a lot of words, but it's a very neat paragraph of text over here. Okay. And then, of course, once again, you have this A tag. All right, this is the anchor tag. All right, it allows you to link things one HTML page to another, and you've seen it earlier, and in this case it's now linking to a Wikipedia entry to this website called GeoCities. The other one that's very common is called the image tag. I'm using this, I want to show you guys this tag because this is an example of a tag that doesn't have anything in between. You only have one tag and the tag opens and closes itself. What I mean is this: if you take a look at H1, you have open angle bracket, H1, close angle bracket. So this is the opening tag. And you say this is HTML. And then you have the closing tag. So everything applies in between. Now, the IMG tag, which stands for image, doesn't apply to anything in between. I mean, it just says this is an image. So it doesn't have it doesn't have to open and close, so to speak. So rather than, like the H1 tag, you have open and a close, it is just one tag itself, and it ends off with a slash right here. You can see the end of this particular sentence, you see the slash. And this is how you create, you use a tag that opens and closes within itself. Okay, so here's an example of that. And of course, for the image tag, you have an attribute called source, SRC. So this is the source of the image. So you see everything in HTML is actually just English, so which is very nice. So that's why you don't really need to memorize things. And in fact, after you start using HTML enough, you'll start to remember some of these tags anyway. Okay, and then of course you close off the body. Now there's a very interesting thing about the there's something very interesting about the paragraph tag that this is just an extra thing that I wanted to mention. If you take a look, the paragraph tag makes sure that everything inside the paragraph forms a paragraph. So even if I do this, I'm say, like, if I make a break in the line here and I make them all messed up, or I put a lot of extra spaces in between these two words, when I save this file and I go back to the HTML page on Internet Explorer, you'll notice that the text, the web browser is just going to automatically clean up all the, stray spaces and line breaks and just make it into a very neat little paragraph. So that's one of the unique features of the paragraph tag. So that is a very quick look at some examples of how you can use HTML. Again, the purpose of this video is really to show you how it works. Just go search online for references to HTML. You can find all the possibilities that you can do with HTML. And that's pretty much it for this particular video. And a very quick introduction and recap on how HTML works. Now, the next video that I'll be showing you guys will be a lot more important and a lot more relevant, which is on CSS. CSS is something known as cascading style sheets, and it helps you really make HTML a lot prettier. Okay, so that one's going to be quite important. So as usual, if you've got anything, just as usual, if you have any questions, you can find me on the IS306 eLearn discussion boards, and I will do my best to answer your questions. So until then, I'll see you guys. Goodbye.